Picture a single day, nearly 30,000 years ago, a small human settlement. The fire from the night before is still warm. Smoke rises slowly into the air. Adults are busy surviving. They are shaping stone tools, preparing food, repairing weapons, getting ready for the next hunt. But a few steps away, someone is doing something completely different. A child is playing with wet clay. No one told them to do it. There is no important task behind it. They are simply pressing it, shaping it, trying to turn a piece of earth into something else. We don't know their name. We don't know what they looked like. We don't know what they were thinking. But we know one thing. They left something behind. And somehow it survived for 30,000 years. This is not a story invented for a documentary. It comes from real archaeological evidence. And the evidence reveals something surprisingly familiar. Children in the distant past were not so different from children today. In the Czech Republic, archaeologists discovered hundreds of small clay objects from ancient settlements, including Dolní Věstonice, Pavlov, and Předmostí. Nearly 500 pieces were found near ancient fireplaces and a prehistoric kiln. Some were animals. Some resembled human figures. Others were broken pieces of clay that never became anything recognizable. For decades, many researchers believed these objects were made by skilled adults. They were often interpreted as symbols, rituals, or early forms of art. But then researchers started looking at something unusual, not the perfect objects, the mistakes. In 2024, researchers Rebecca Farbstein and April Nowell examined signs of experimentation, clay that was prepared incorrectly, pieces that cracked while drying, shapes that were abandoned halfway through. These were not the marks of someone creating a perfect masterpiece. They looked like the traces left by someone learning, someone experimenting, someone making the same kinds of mistakes children make when they are discovering how things work. The evidence suggested that at least some of these objects may have been made by children, not for ceremony or ritual, but simply through curiosity, practice, and play. And there is another remarkable clue. Among the most famous discoveries from this region is the Venus of Dolní Věstonice, one of the oldest known fired ceramic sculptures ever found. When scientists examined it, they discovered a fingerprint pressed into the clay before it was fired. Not from a master sculptor, from a child. A small human touch preserved for thousands of years. We cannot know exactly who left it, but someone held this piece of clay nearly 30,000 years ago. Someone touched it before it became one of the most studied artifacts from human prehistory. But clay was not the only place where ancient children left traces of themselves. Deep underground in the caves of Europe, their footsteps were also preserved. In France, inside the Niaux cave system, archaeologists discovered more than 40 prehistoric footprints. Their unusual paths suggest movement that was not about traveling somewhere. They were not walking in a straight line. They appear playful, like children exploring, running, and moving through the cave simply because they could. In Spain, inside the Garma cave, researchers found footprints made by children around 6 or 7 years old. Their small steps were preserved in soft clay, frozen in time. For thousands of years, these marks waited underground, not because the children wanted to leave a message, but because they were simply being children. A small figure shaped by inexperienced hands. A fingerprint pressed into clay before it became stone. Footprints left during a moment of exploration. None of these things were created to survive for tens of thousands of years. They survived by accident, because clay hardened, because caves protected what was hidden inside, because time sometimes preserves the things humans never meant to save. Today, a child's drawing might end up on a refrigerator door or hidden inside thousands of photos on a phone. 30,000 years ago, a child's creation ended up buried in the earth, waiting, silent, until someone found it. The materials changed, the world changed, but the instinct did not. The desire to create, to explore, to play. Maybe the biggest discovery from these ancient children is not what they made. Maybe it's realizing how little childhood itself has changed. If stories like this make you see history differently, subscribe to Kivo World, because the past is full of evidence, and sometimes the smallest traces tell the biggest stories.